Okay, hi guys. Now in this video I'm going to show you how to use a free piece of software to really easily and instantly take your own photo of yourself, like you see in my photos here in my thumbnails for my YouTube channel. Okay, people have often asked me, how do I put myself in front of these backgrounds here? Because as you can see, I'm able to put myself here in the foreground, but I've got a background here. I'm going to show you how you can do that and create a similar effect. Now I've got different pieces of software that maybe many of you may or may not want to use, and it all depends on what kind of computer you're using. I personally use an Apple Mac. However, I've decided to show you how to do this and create a similar effect using a free software that's both available for Windows computers and Mac computers. I personally don't always use this software to do this actual effect because I'm on a Mac, and that's one of the reasons why I haven't done this tutorial, simply because I know not everybody's on a Mac. But if you are on a Mac, I'll just show you how I'm doing it quickly on my own Mac. So personally I'm using a software called Keynote, which is actually free, I believe, for Mac users. It's always been free for me. I've had two Macs. Well, I still have two Macs. I've got a laptop, which is a Mac, and I've got a desktop, which is a Mac as well. And I both use them a huge amount. And I use this software called Keynote. It's always been on my computer. So I'm able to put myself in the background here. Sorry, in the foreground, and I'm able to put backgrounds in there. I'm doing all kinds of things using Keynote, and I've just got all kinds of elements that I'm using. It's one of my favorite pieces of software that I have on my Mac. However, I know that not everyone has a Mac computer. I know you got a Windows computer, so let me just quickly show you how, for the Mac users, how I'm doing it, and then I'll show the Windows users how you can use an alternative free piece of software that you don't even need to download to be able to get a really simple and almost identical effect. But let me just show you. So I've got some, you don't even have to use a green screen in your background either, guys. So let me just show you without using a green screen to create a similar effect. Now if you're up against a wall, for example, I'm using the alpha button. I've basically customized my toolbar here. But if you can't see the icon up here on the top here, what you do is you go to images here. So you've got to select your image, you basically click on Instant Alpha, all right. And then what you do is you'll see this kind of magnifying glass here. And what you do is you just hold your mouse down, with your left mouse button here down, and then you just take stuff out. It's very clever. It's somehow kind of it senses what you're trying to take out in some ways. It's probably one of the most. Now obviously I personally have a green screen, so I'm able to create effects much easier. But if you don't have a green screen, what you need to do, guys, is you need to be up against a wall where the background has complete contrast with your foreground. Now if I wanted to do this properly, I probably wouldn't wear this jersey because it's uneven. It's got all kinds of different colors on it. Well, it's got. My advice is to wear something like, if you're up against a white background, maybe put in a dark shirt on, but make sure the shirt is plain or something like that. Don't have too many colors on your shirt that might contrast with the background. Of course, you can crop stuff as well. So once you've got a reasonably good, and you've sort of engulfed yourself within plenty of transparent background, so that's not a bad effect. But bearing in mind that my pictures, the pictures that I'm trying to use here, this is not going to be so easy because the background is up against a curtain with different shades and stuff like that. But Keynote as a software on your Mac is actually incredibly clever, and I'm giving it a very hard task to try and figure out the background. But guys, what you really need to do is you need to be up against a plain background, and where the background color is completely different to what you're wearing, your foreground. You don't want too much light so that it's creating too much shadow as well. So so obviously, this is not going to be so easy because of the curtains in the background, because they're creating different lights and different contrasts, different colors. But in spite of that, it's not bad. But let's just show you. I'm just basically showing you with different scenarios. I've done that one. Let's try this one. I think I did that similar one. Let's try this one. Like again, basically, guys, it's better that you that your clothing is not kind of too complicated. My jersey is a bit complicated, but still, it's not bad. And then you can crop things. And then just to show you that my backgrounds, whatever background I use, for example. So obviously my lighting is not brilliant either. But obviously if I had a green screen, for example, things can be a lot easier. And again, my camera isn't brilliant either, but you can see, in spite of the fact that I've got a bad camera, and I haven't got brilliant lighting either, it's still not bad. So there you go. All right. Then with Keynote, you can kind of enhance. As you can probably see the difference between when you enhance it, the colors make it better. So in spite of the fact that my camera wasn't good and my lighting isn't that good, you can do some pretty good effects with Keynote. And then of course you can go to Style and you can put in, for example, some effects. Hold on a minute. Yeah. Do some shadows in the background. Do all kinds of things. If you want, you can change the shadow to light, so that you're getting a kind of a glare, a glow around yourself. Make that offset there, and opacity, make the blur. So yeah, as you can see, you can do you can do all kinds of things and put some text in the background and do various things. And then once you've created these elements, you can actually save the elements so that you can use them for other thumbnails in the future. But that was really for a Mac tutorial. But now let me show you what Windows users can do. So I've got a software here called Photopea, and I've done a tutorial on this before. So you go to this website. You don't even have to log in. You don't have to create an account necessarily. If you do create an account, you have a free option. There's really no. I've never seen the need to actually upgrade to premium, and I would if I did feel the need, but you don't really need to. And the only reason that I would ever need to log in was, I think it saves certain settings, but I'm generally never really logged in for some reason, and I don't really feel I need to be logged in. So it's really just a free website. Go to this URL and you can immediately get started. You can add your images that you've taken. I'm purposely going to use images that I've done up against a background, and guys, I've purposely not used brilliant lighting, all right, for this reason, because I'm doing a tutorial that is newbie friendly. And if you just happen to have a mobile phone, which is what I used, to take a picture of myself up against a plain white wall, most people have access to these kind of scenarios, situations in their house. So that's why I've taken an image of myself, and you can see there's a lot of issues in the background there. So what you do is, normally when you load the software, you're on this menu here. But what you need to do is you can go to this menu here, because I need to put my mouse over there, and I need to right click, and then I need to do Magic Cut. Okay, so it's done so far. It hasn't done a bad job of it, considering. So what you now need to do is now need to work on this side here, because what you got here, you got an interface here that allows you to kind of doctor your photo. So here you got green, which means foreground. Okay, so everything in the foreground, you don't have to cover the whole thing. You just need to make it aware of what is foreground and what is background. And again, it would make it a lot easier if you had more of a plain shirt on. I should have done that for you guys to see, but make sure that you just tell the software what to look for, Notice I'm not needing to cover everything, but I just want the software to yeah, that's made it a lot better. Oops, what did I do there? Oh dear. I used the green one, which is supposed to be for foreground, in the place where it's supposed to be background. So that's why it kind of messed it up a bit. Okay, so I need to put the background. The red is the background. So that's taken that out. So what we're left here, guys, is a pretty good image, and then you click OK. Let me just show you around this interface, though. You see where my kind of circle is, you know, my mouse cursor? It's like a circle. That's kind of your brush. Right here, guys, if you see where my mouse is, you can change the size of that if you want to make it bigger or smaller, and you can change the brush kind of well, the brush size and shape. If you want to make it smoother, a brush. But I wouldn't. You generally, if you start off with a good photo in the first place, with reasonably good lighting, your foreground has kind of a completely different contrast to the background. You're going to come out with a really good. And in some ways, you probably won't even have to do any editing whatsoever. It'll automatically know where the foreground is versus the background, and on the whole, it does a very good job. So yeah, that's really, yeah. This green is the foreground. If you made a mistake, you can just use the grey just to rub out your kind of green or your reds. The red is the background, so you need to show the software where the background is. This is just your guide as to what you want your kind of guide. This is probably the best setting to have it on, so you can see that where the background is versus what you're trying to get rid of. And then just click OK, and then that's what you're left with. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a background in the back there, and it might layer it on top, but that's fine. I'm just going to. You can also change this. You can change the canvas. If you go to Images and Canvas Size, I'm just going to. I'm just going to make it a square image. You know, for example, if I want to do Instagram or something like that. Okay, that's fine. So now what we've got is I'm going to select the. That's odd. What's that? Okay, I'm going to select my layer, and I'm going to just arrange it to the back, so that. And then I'm going to change the size of that, perhaps. Okay, well. And then what you can do is you can select the layer, and then you can go to layer at the top here, and then you can go to layer style, and you've got a little panel here that you can do some fancy things, like for example, if you want to do outer glow, it does some nice things there. It can give you a nice effect. If you want to go to stroke here, you can add something there. It's up to you. If you want to do drop shadow. There's some things there. You may not want it. I don't think I want drop shadow, but yeah, it's there if you want it. And click OK. Then of course you got some options if you want to do text and stuff. So you just put your text in there. Not sure why it's not. Change the font. I've also noticed it actually it seems to know, it knows where your fonts are on your computer as well, if you've got any custom fonts on your computer, but it already has its own fonts that you can use. So there's plenty of choices with regards to font. So if you want to just search, like, I don't know, impact or something, if I have it, I may not have it. Well, anyway, just pick a font or whatever. Something like, it almost looks something like something out of Halloween. So yeah, this was just an example of what you can do with a free piece of software, just to play around, use some of the effects, how to get your own photo, which obviously I took this photo up against a plain white background, which is most people have already in their house, and I was able to rip out the background instantly, pretty much. I used my mobile phone, didn't have professional lighting or anything like that, didn't have a fancy green screen, and you can do this on a Windows or on a Mac. This software is free, and you can put in your text, you can give it nice effects, put in shadows or glares or glows or whatever, and then what you do is, when you want to save it, you either save it as a PSD file. You can come back and edit this anytime. So if you save it as a PSD file, it'll save it to your desktop or wherever you want it. And now if I completely go out of this and I come back later and I load up the software, I haven't saved it on the web here, and then I come back and I drag and drop the PSD file in there. Now all I need to do is just to continue where I left off. All the elements are layered. I can change anything I want. I can go back to layers. I can go to layer style, and I can completely edit any of the settings. I can change the text if I want to. And do anything I want. So if you come back later and you want to edit your original templates, you can just do it, and you're going to save it as PSD. Now if you want to save it as an image, then you go to File and Export As, and then PNG or JPEG, it's up to you. So it'll give you a preview. You can set the size, save it, it'll save to your desktop. And I can just preview the image. There it is. So that's an image. But I just, you can do what you want with it. I just gave you an example of how to use a nice piece of software which is 100% free. So you don't have to pay for things like Photoshop, which are quite expensive. But yeah, I mean, personally, I still prefer Keynote, but that's just a Mac software, and that's just my preference. But I'm just saying that maybe some of you might prefer to use Photoshop, of course, you know, because it's an expensive product. It's good at what it does. Some of you might prefer to use PowerPoint. And believe it or not, you can save your images or your graphics that you do in PowerPoint. I know that PowerPoint is also good because it's drag and drop. And you don't have to just use PowerPoint, for example, just to create presentations. You can actually create nice graphics that look really good on your social media. All I'm showing you here is a drag and drop editor that can do some fancy things. It can take out your background. It can give you some glare and glow and all kinds of things that you can add in your text. And it's a nice piece of software. You know, it's free and it's web-based. You don't need to download it. I'm not sure if you can use it on a mobile device. Don't ask me that, because I wouldn't even bother trying personally, because I don't do this kind of stuff on a mobile phone. But if you've only got a mobile phone, just try it then. Go to this website and see if it works. I will never tell you whether it works or not, because you're never ever going to get me to do something like this on a mobile phone. I know there are apps on the mobile phone specifically to be able to allow you to do stuff like this, like take out your background and stuff like that. But like I say, I don't prefer to use apps or anything like that on my mobile phone. I prefer to use a computer because I like the big space and I like a big canvas to work with. But anyway, hope this video was useful. Thanks for watching, and give me a like and comment and subscribe to my channel. Look forward to showing you what I've got in my next videos. Bye for now.